Let's pay homage to the Buddha, fully enlightened one. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yesterday, we are talking about the three stages of the defilements. The stage of dormancy, the stage of obsessions, and the stage of transgression. As I have given an example, when we see a mango seed, we understand that there is a potential to grow trees and bear fruits in the future if there is a certain condition. Even we don't see the trees and the fruits in a mango seed, but we understand there is potentiality. In the same way, now we all are giving talk and listening the Dharma talk. The time we are giving talks and listening the Dharma talk, we are not angry, we are not greedy, we are not being proud of. Now this time, our defilements, they just lie dormant as a latent defilements in our mental continuum. When we see, when there is a suitable condition which can cause our defilements comes up to the surface of the mind, at that time, greed, hatred, pride, jealousy, they comes up to the surface of the mind. At that time, it becomes obsession stage. So when the defilements that lie dormant as a latent tendency in our mental continuum comes up to the surface of the mind, many heedlessly, without knowing, they respond according to the demanding or instructions of the defilements that comes up to the surface of the mind. How many times have you obeyed the instructions of the defilements that comes up to the surface of your mind? How many times already? Uncountable, Bande. Okay? So we act something according to the instructions of our mental instructions only. So if you know what is your mental instructions, and if you can analyze whether it is good to follow, whether it is suitable to act according to the instructions of the defilements, so at that time you can do more wholesome deeds and you can avoid doing unwholesome deeds in your life too. The cause of doing unwholesome deeds, the cause of doing unskillful qualities, it is our mind. Because of this reason, our Buddha said, Bhikkhus, if you are not skillful in reading the habits of your own mind, if you are not skillful in reading the habits of others' mind, be skillful reading the habits of your own mind. Is it suitable to do whatever our mind instructs us to do? No. Right? So if it is no, if should not do according to the instructions of the mind all the time, what do we need to do? We must try to be skillful, reading the habits of our own mind. How many people here had tried in skillful reading the habits of your own mind? Any? Okay, if you are doing, I'm glad to hear it. Those who haven't tried and those who try a little bit or sometime, I do suggest all of you, please try to do and please try to be skillful reading the habits of your own mind starting from today on. If you all want to do more wholesome deeds in your daily life, and if you all want to avoid doing unwholesome deeds in your daily life, the most important thing and the major thing that we all need to do is to be mindful in the habit of our own mind. Do you know what is good education? Do you know what is the highest education? Can you answer me?
Education can benefit myself and others as well.
Okay, so the highest education, the best education is to know one's own mind. Okay, this is for the real progress of one's life. So as you answer me, which is good for oneself and others, this is good education. How can we do for the good of oneself and others? Only when we are skillful reading our own habits of mind. When we know more our mind, we know what to do, we know what to speak, we know what not to do, we know what not to speak. Because we will not all the time obey the instructions of the mental instructions. We will do just what is suitable and beneficial for oneself and others. So Buddha wants us to try to be skillful, reading the habits of our own mind, that he continue giving an example, he instruct. Buddha said, just as a man or woman is fond of self-beautification, examining the image of his or her own face in the bright clear mirror, are you not fond of self-beautification? No, I am not. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Whether man, whether woman, they will say, yes, I am. So because we are fond of self-beautification, because of this reason, every day, many people in the world, they look their face in the bright clear mirror. When they see any dot or blemish on their face, they will try to remove it. If they don't see any dot or blemish, they feel very happy, they feel very pleased, thinking how clean I am, how fortunate I am. In the same way, self-examination is for the improvement of wholesome, skillful qualities. We should examine ourselves, asking, is my mind clogged with much desire to get the possession of others? Is my mind clogged with thoughts of ill will, with sloth and torpor, with restlessness, often with doubt, with much anger, with sensual thoughts, with thoughts of exhaustion, laziness, and destruction? In short, is my mind clogged with three defilements: greed, hatred, and delusion? It is only through this constant self-examination that we can know whether our minds are clogged with defilements or free of them. Being mindful in this way will encourage us to put forth greater effort to abundant and wholesome qualities. This is the advice given by the Buddha 2,500 years ago. Even it has been 2,500 years ago, it is valid today as it was over 2,500 years ago. Today, people all over the world love physical beauty. They constantly look at their faces in mirrors to spot or to mark dirt and blemishes, checking whether their hair is in place, looking for various ways to improve their physical image. So much time is spent in this way, but how many people take time to examine themselves for greed, anger, delusion, jealousy, envy, stinginess, pride, etc. When these defilements rise to the surface of the mind? I think very few indeed. How rare it is to find an individual who recognizes the arising of defilements and then willingly suppress them. The rest of us give free rein to our defilements, allow them to run rampant in our mind. As if these were not enough, our defilements. As if these were not enough, our defilements are promoted and plastered by the media to make sure that we all become addicted to them. At this point, let me ask you another question. What is more beautiful? A beautiful face or a beautiful mind? Mind. More. Huh? Mouth. Mouth is mind. Okay. Shouldn't the answer be beautiful mind? It is not because of beautifying our faces that we are reborn as humans. It is because of beautifying and purifying our minds. True? So are you beautifying your face or are you beautifying your mind every day? Mind. You must be honest. You must honest yourself. If you don't honest me, it doesn't matter. However, starting from today on, please try to beautify your mind. Otherwise, it is impossible to be able to come back to the human world again. So, many people, they spend more time to beautify their face. Now we knew that Just because of beautifying and purifying our minds, we are reborn as humans. That being so, shouldn't we reverse the time and effort scale? Wouldn't it be better if we spend more time purifying, more time putting forth effort to cultivate wholesome qualities and eradicate unwholesome qualities, and less time and effort on physical beauty and self-admiration? If we don't do this, how will we be protected? Remember what the Buddha said in the Atta Rakkhita Sutta that we are now giving and listening. Restraint everywhere is good. Conscientious or virtuous, everywhere restraint. One is said to be protected. So in order to further illustrate how latent defilements lead to bodily and verbal wrong actions, let me next refer to the Viduddhaba story, which occurs in the Dhammapada, Book 4. This story demonstrates the importance of spreading and reducing unwholesome qualities at the earlier stages of the mental process. One day, King Pasenadi saw thousands of bhikkhus passing through the streets, going to the houses of Anatha Pindika, Sula Anatha Pindika, Visakha and Subhavasa for their means. So these four people are those who are well known at the Buddha time, those who are lay devotee who are supporting the Buddha's teaching, Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. The predominant lay devotees are two, Anatha Pindika and Visakha. Both of them are noble persons. So they have attained noblehood, that they have unshakable faith on Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Because of this reason, both of them every day preparing, cooking food in their home. They offer food at least 500 bhikkhus, 1,000 bhikkhus, 10,000 bhikkhus a day, every day. Now you see, in this story, thousands of bhikkhus are going to their home for their meals. So at that time, King Pasenadi saw those bhikkhus who are going to their home. So when he see desiring to perform such meritorious deeds as well, the king set forth to invite the Buddha and 1,000 bhikkhus to also take meals at his palace. He was granted the opportunity to do so for 7 days consecutively. He did so diligently and graciously. On the 7th day, he invited the Buddha to continue to have meals regularly in the royal palace. However, it is not the habit of Buddhas to regularly accept food from the same person, as Buddhas arise for the benefit of the many. So the Buddha asked Venerable Ananda and 500 other bhikkhus to do so in his place. For 7 days, the king served Venerable Ananda and the Sangha attentively. However, on the next day, the 8th day, the king was so busy with his royal duties that he forgot to serve the Sangha. On the 9th day, it happened again. On the 10th day, when the time for the start of the meal had passed, all the bhikkhus left the palace, leaving only Venerable Ananda behind. Actually, food had been prepared, but the king had forgotten to order his servants to serve the meals in his absence. Without the king's order, no one dared to do so. When the king found out later that the Sangha had left without taking the prepared food, he felt offended. He went to the Buddha to complain. The Buddha released the bhikkhus from blame and told the king truthfully that the bhikkhus lacked confidence in him. When the king Pasenadi of Kosala knew that because of this reason bhikkhus had left, realizing and accepting his fault, King Pasenadi drew plan to regain the confidence of the Buddha and his Sangha. He thought the best way was to establish a strong relationship between himself and the Buddha. It is to marry a Sakya lady. Sakya lady means a relative of the Buddha. The king thought it is the way to establish a strong relationship between himself and the Buddha. So he sent an ambassador to the Sakyas, requesting a Sakyan daughter in marriage. Sakyas, those who are the relatives of the Buddha, worry about potential problems if they did not send a lady to marry the king. So Kosala is the country of the King Kosala. Kosala was a much bigger and stronger state than Sakya. So King Mahanama of the Sakya decided to send Vasabhakatiya. It is the name of the beautiful daughter of King Mahanama by a slave woman. King Pasenadi married her and soon she became the mother of a son, Vidudaba. Now we are talking about story of Vidudaba. It is a son of King Mahanama who married slave woman. Vidudaba is a son of King Pasenadi who married Vasabhakatiya, who is a slave woman. Vasabhakatiya is the son of King Mahanama. Okay? So King Mahanama is the relatives or the brother of our Buddha. Okay? He married a slave woman and then she gave birth one daughter. That daughter name is Vasabhakatiya. They sent Vasabhakatiya, who is a daughter of slave woman, to the King Pasenadi to marry her. Vidudaba is the son of Vasabhakatiya and the son of King Pasenadi too. So, from the age of 7, Prince Vidudaba constantly asked about his mother's family. At 16, Prince Vidudaba persistently asked to visit his maternal grandfather King Mahanama. Finally, his mother Vasabhakatiya agreed to let him go, as she was aware of her own lineage, and therefore anticipated potential problems. She sent a letter ahead to the Sakyas stating that she was happy where she was. She requested that for the happiness and peace of all concerned, the Sakyas would do well not to behave proudly towards her son. Prince Vidudaba went to the Sakyan capital, Kapilavatthu, with a large retinue. His Sakyan relatives welcomed him very well and gave him many gifts. In the course of the visit, the prince noted something strange. No relative paid respects to him. He himself had paid respects to all of the relatives who were senior to him. He inquired. When he inquired, he found out that all the princes younger than him were not there. When the relatives of the Buddha knew of his coming, they decided not to pay respect to him, as he was the son of a slave woman, so they sent away all the princes who were younger than him. Nonetheless, he stayed there for 3 days before returning to Kosala. After he left, one of his servants realized that he had forgotten something at Kapilavatthu, the capital of the relatives of the Buddha. So he went back to collect it. There he saw a slave woman washing with milk the seed that Prince Vidudaba had used. Curious, the servant asked the slave why she was washing the seed with milk. She replied that the seed had been used by the son of a slave woman, Prince Vidudaba. In a short time, that incident became common gossip. Soon it came to the ears of the prince. With his pride pricked and deeply affected by this news, strong hatred arose in his mind. The hatred, which is lying dormant as latent defilements, now comes up to the surface of his mind. What did he do? Thereupon, he swore the following oath. As they now wash my seed with milk, when I become king, so will I wash it with their blood. I will repeat again. As they now wash my seed with milk, when I become king, so will I wash it with their blood. Through wrong verbal action, he bound himself tightly to his Sakyan relatives with strong hatred and resentment. Here I would like to remind each of you to carefully reflect on the nature of human beings. Everyone, whether of high or low status, inferior or superior, poor or rich, stupid or intelligent, ignorant or wise, has a high opinion of himself. Most people think only of their own self-importance. If someone treats them poorly, regards them as worthless or low, and behaves disrespectfully towards them, it can cause hurt, resentment, and anger. A desire to retaliate may arise in the mind. So we will go back to the sutta. When Prince Vidudaba became king, he remembered the insult he had suffered and the oath he had sworn against the Sakyas. He soon assembled a large force to take revenge and set out for Kapilavatthu. The Buddha, aware of impending destruction of his relatives by King Vidudaba, sat in the shade of a small tree on the Sakyan side of the border with Kosala. Where did the Buddha sit? The Buddha sit in the shade of a small tree on the Sakyan site. Sakyan site is the city of his relatives. So it is near, it is the border, very near to the borderline of two countries. So he sat in the shade of a small tree on the Sakyan side of the border with Kosala country. So on the way to Kapilavatthu, the king Vidudaba saw the Buddha in the shade of the small tree, and he asked the Buddha why he chose a small tree when there were much bigger and shadier trees on the Kosalan side of the border. The king Vidudaba asked this question because our Buddha, when his lifetime, most of many years, he mostly lived in the country of the Kosala. Now the Buddha was sitting not in his countryside, of his relative side. So when he asked the Buddha why the Buddha was sitting in the shade of a small tree when there is much bigger and shadier trees on the Kosala country. So the purpose of King Vidudaba, who is now marching towards the country of the relatives of the Buddha, is to kill them. So the Buddha replied, in all the shades in the world, the shade of relatives is coolest and the best. Do you agree? Yes. What did Buddha say? In all the shades in the world, the shade of relatives is coolest and the best. Realizing that the Buddha wanted to protect his relatives, the king Vidudaba turned his forces back. On 2 other occasions, the same thing happened. However, on the 4th occasion, realizing the failure of trying to stop the invasion, the Buddha withdrew his attempt to protect his relatives. So King Vidudaba entered the city and killed his Sakyan relatives violently. He killed all except those princes and princesses who were with his grandfather, King Mahanama. Having destroyed them, he washed his feet with their blood as he has vowed. Now we see that the stage of obsession has shifted to the stage of transgression, which involved bodily wrong action, in this case, killing. Is it because of having skillful reading the habits of his own mind, or is it because of having no skillful reading the habits of his own mind? He wrongly understood. Anger is my anger. Okay? Because of this reason, he take his revenge on his relatives. It is so dangerous. Our mind is so dangerous. Within a short time, within a few minutes, within a moment, we can commit something without knowing it. When people heard about that terrible revenge killing, they uttered with grief and disbelief. The karma that the relatives of the Buddha had accumulated when Vidudaba was 16 was just minor. What the king has done is very terrible and excessive. It should not be such. When the utterance came to the ears of the Buddha, the Lord explained that the karma that my relatives did in this present life is very minor, but it is not because of that present karma that they have been destroyed. It is not because of that present karma that they have been destroyed. In a previous existence, they threw poison into a water body to destroy water creatures. That unwholesome act has now made someone appear to perform the act of killing them. The present killing is a result of that past karma. That karma has opened the door to give its results. In another verse from the Dhammavada, the Buddha explains, the evil he himself has done, born of himself and produced by himself, grinds him as a diamond grinds a hot jam. Based on this understanding, it is really necessary to complain that others have hurt us, insulted us, or found fault with us. Is it necessary to complain? They hurt me, they insulted me, they find fault of me. Only because of the karma you have accumulated in the past, someone appeared to complain you, someone appeared to insult you, someone appeared who find fault of you. According to the Buddha, who is to blame? Should we not blame ourselves for having performed the karma that results in mental or physical pain? This being the case, let us cease to respond unwisely towards anybody in our present life, no matter how much that person tries to harm us. As we just allow the karma to ripen as it ripens and accept its result accordingly, our karmic load will be lightened and our future will become that much brighter. Here again, if we just allow the karma to ripen as it ripens and accept its result accordingly, our karmic load will be lightened and our future will become that much brighter. Will you follow? Do you practice? Do you like the teaching of the Buddha? You must follow. You must practice practically in your daily life. Let us therefore welcome with a smile the results of past karma. If we respond with wrong bodily or verbal actions, such actions will only add to our karmic debt, a debt which we may very well have to pay for in the future. Many times or sometimes we are right, they are wrong. Even we are right, even they are wrong. At that time, better don't respond with wrong bodily or verbal actions. Such actions will only add to our karmic debt, a debt which we may very well have to pay for in the future. How do you understand the two words, respond and react? We say we respond. Sometimes we say we react. What is the difference?
She says reaction means without thinking, and respond is with your willingness or your will or intention.
Your answer is very good, but please change the word. React is response. For example, when we touch the fire, we withdraw our hand quickly. Okay? It means it responds. Okay? React means we react, thinking carefully whether good to do or not. Which way do we need to do? Respond or react?
어떤 것을 택해야 할까요? 반응하는 겁니까? 대응하는 겁니까?
Thinking carefully whether right to do or not, good to do or not. Only then if we do back, it means we react. Don't respond, please react. Response means without controlling. React means understanding, controlling. Is it necessary to tell you yourself when you touch the fire to withdraw your hand? No need. Right? This is the way. Without training, without needing a teacher, we respond. So to be able to react, we must admonish ourselves. We must tutor ourselves. We must guide ourselves. Okay, now you all understand. To react, not to respond. Therefore, let us reflect carefully and thoroughly before we take any actions. Performing wholesome actions will improve our future existence, and performing unwholesome actions will surely lead to more suffering. Those with wisdom and discrimination will know which type of action to choose. Let us stop today here. Tomorrow I think I will finish this talk. Any questions? No questions? Oh.
You said highest education is to know one's mind. So would it be advisable to study Abhidhamma and practice Cittanupassana?
Because to be able to understand our own mind more and more, if we study Abhidhamma, it will be very helpful. Only then we will know more about our mind. When we know Abhidhamma, at the time, if we continue practice Samatha Vipassana, so it can make we attain Nibbana, which can make free from all suffering. This is our highest goal. This is our highest education. Okay? Buddha appeared in the world to make an end of suffering. Nobody can teach us. This is the highest education. But we must start from how to be skillful reading the habits of our own mind. It will help you in your meditation practice practically too, when you are skillful reading the habits of your own mind. Why I don't say the education we are getting when we attend school and university is good education. Because this education is just for this present life only. How to make living in this very life only. It cannot make we reborn in the human devil's world. It just teaches us how to earn money, how to make living, to strive and to make living in this very life only. All the time, for example, computer, technology, advance, all the time. Is there any end studying the computer technology? No end. Until we die. Okay? We cannot know the truth because of following the computer technology. How much we try to pursue or to follow this education, the more we try, the more we feel exhausted. Finally, without having satisfaction, we leave this world behind. the education, conventional education that we are getting in this world, there is no definite goal. There is no definite destiny. But the education given by the Buddha, there is a definite goal. The more we try, the more we are nearer to the goal. One day we can make an end of our life, which is the highest goal, liberation. Because of this reason, I want to suggest all of you, please separate. One is to make living. Another is to know the truth, to understand the truth, to make attain our supreme goal. So that's why you need to do both. Not only one. If you are doing just the worldly things, you waste your life. You don't make use of your valuable human life. I think here most of the listeners are under 30 and over 30. Okay? Not less than 20. You have been spent for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 60 years just doing worldly things. Starting from today on, understanding which one do we need to do. If you can't give up your worldly things, carry on, but doing parallelly the teaching of the Buddha. If you can give up, do the teaching of the Buddha only. Is it not good to do? Oh, no agreement. We are afraid to say Bande. We can't give up wife, husband, son, daughters, and Korea. Okay? Okay. Any questions? Okay, no more questions. Let's stop here.